town Minnesota boy, kind of a smaller rural community. Grew up, like a lot of people, I grew up playing sports. And around probably the age of 12, so I played 3 sports. I was a wrestler, I was a baseball player, and I played American football. And with wrestling, I was pretty naturally gifted growing up. And then right around, that puberty time frame, I started to get my butt kicked a little bit in wrestling. In America, like when you get into 7th grade, you're around that 12, 13 years old. And sometimes you're wrestling 14, 15, sometimes even 16-year-olds, and you're a 12, 13-year-old. So you sometimes you get physically manhandled. And I only share that because that's where I got sick of being physically manhandled. I asked my dad, who was a wrestling coach, I'm just like, what can I do? And he introduced me to my first set of weights. And they were the old school sand-filled, if you remember those at all, Jason, they were like plastic plates, a cheap barbell, and they were filled with sand. But it was resistance, right? So I started lifting, I started doing push-ups, I started bicep curling a magazine rack, and just let my mind kind of run wild with it, pull-ups and stuff like that. And I got significantly stronger. And that next year I really turned a corner and I started, physically manhandling my opponent. And that was the first probably aha moment in my life from a physical standpoint, that I wanted to be strong. It made me feel confident and made me feel good. And at that point in my life, there was a tangible benefit in winning. And that's evolved through time. That was kind of like my purpose for training earlier on in my life, and because I was blessed to play some collegiate athletics too. But when that's over, I had to find a new reason. And it largely just became mental health and just feeling good and confidence. Now that I'm a father, a husband, I got 3 kids. Now it's still about those things, being mentally sharp, feeling strong, feeling confident, evading being sick all the time. And just probably the overriding purpose is to be a good example for my kids. And I coach in my community a lot of young kids and adults too. And I just want to be an example for them to follow, because Lord knows, well, at least in my country, Jason, we're terrible. So I want to be an agent of change in that respect. So that's a little bit about my story, man. And I'm an entrepreneur, went to school for strength conditioning, went all the way through my graduate program in that. So I have a deep background in athletic development and strength conditioning. And kettlebells about 10 years ago became my best friend, probably similar to you, just for a lot of reasons. Maybe we'll dive into that.